Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first amateur game of the season. Today we're going to be seeing Deception versus Neverland. The first set being Doctor, second set being Nurse, and the third set being Spirit. Some very interesting killers today. I'm joined today by Green Dean and Day. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing amazing, Gaffic. Thank you.
Awesome
Yes,
to
I'm
hear.
also doing great. I'm excited for these games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We're seeing Potato Savage on Killer, on the Doctor. I know him for his Nurse gameplay, but it'll be interesting to see him on Doc.
I actually haven't seen all that much of Potato Savage. Didn't he used to be on a Div 1 team though?
Yeah, I can't recall which team it was, but he was on a Div 1 team last season. And I had some experience against him in Academy the season before. He's a very good killer. It'll be interesting to see him in this season.
Very quick first hit onto our cape there.
Yeah, and we see him just leaving immediately, which is really interesting considering, like, that's, like you said, a very early hit. You'd want to commit to it, I would think. Get a quick down.
Oh, it's because the hit was done into the corrupt gens. She like kept beelining it straight to the corrupt. He wants to try and keep all his gens up. Although Ace is doing the same thing, but he is committing to the Ace more here. Very nice shot and a very, very fast down.
This is a very good start for Potato Savage. I mean, down at with pretty much zero gen pressure coming out from the survivors.
Can I quickly just move all of our attention to the perks there, and a very favorite of mine, Merciless Storm.
Yes.
S tier perk right there.
It really is a pretty RNG perk, but when it gets value, it is insanely good. It's like premature deadlock.
I find it so interesting because you see it run only on Doctor because of the skill checks, right? So it's interesting what teams get it. Miss the skill checks that are like all over the screen, and what teams are like don't get any value from it.
There it is. There's our first Merciless Storm value.
Yeah.
Wow, already seen value.
It's because the skill checks are very consistent, but when you're versing Doctor, if you have Madness tier 1, they start reversing, they start popping everywhere. But it's like manageable. It's when you're in tier 2 that it's nearly impossible to keep up with it because it just moves so fast and it's pretty consistent.
Yeah, and we see Jake coming in for the solo save, which is very hard to do against Doctor, even with the grab changes.
Yeah, as we just saw, he wasn't able to dodge the shock, so he ended up having to leave, and which forced our poor Ace into second stage.
Yeah, and we're gonna see Potato Savage getting a free tag for Jake's troubles as well.
We're gonna be seeing Potato just patrolling the hook still. Doesn't want to commit to a chase. Just opting to camp this, try to get the early death out, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think it's the correct call. Getting a death at 4, maybe 3 gens if they get this main or something done. It'll be what you need for a 4K on Doc, honestly.
Yeah, the quicker that you get your first kill on Doc, the bigger of the value you get, especially on him, because those extra madness levels cause survivors to have to start micromanaging a lot more.
Yeah, 100%. And we see them not even attempting to save again after the last attempt.
No, well, you hope that they're all on gens then. We did see he was pushing Kate off this main gen, but that whole time, not a single gen has popped. So I'm wondering, they must be 3 split.
Oh, and this
we're
late
seeing
pre-leave.
Jake being caught out on the gen, given the very quick down, which is not looking great for our survivors. Probably going to be another pain res coming through as well.
Right in the middle of the map as well, so he's going to be able to patrol these gens and keep them very busy. And this is looking to me like a 4K too, at the very least.
Yeah, it's definitely not looking good for our survivors on Neverland, and we see both of the other survivors here.
That is troubles for Neverland.
Poor Leon not quite making it to the tile. Taking a hit for his troubles, and it looks like Potato's leaving him.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the 3v1, you get a tag, you play back to the hook, and what are the survivors going to do? They're either going to have to reset or try to pump out one more gen, but all the gens with the progress are around this hook, so there's not a lot for them to do.
Oh no, there's the Merciless Storm as well. So we know where Kate is. Like, and I think he sees Leon behind this tile.
He lets the unhook come in free.
Oh, Leon going around for the unhook, but
Oh, is Shay gonna make it to Shaq before his DP runs out? I don't think so.
thinks he does, yeah.
Oh, in the locker.
It's not a great match for Neverland. I was sure Kate will be getting straight back on that gen once Merciless Storm ran out.
Yeah.
I would imagine it being popping.
We should see it popping any second now, since he didn't decide to make sure it stayed progressing.
Yeah.
Oh,
You see
no, there she is.
Not on her.
And she's in tier 3, so she can't even touch it now.
That gen's gonna keep progressing. It's in the chase. Kate leaving the.
Interesting choice there to leave that pellet. These like smaller pellets are actually really good against Doctor, because he can't quite force you to run another loop and get a hit, just because of how small it is. But Kate's doing really well and keep it like trying to run him away from the hook, away from her teammates, so they can try and finish that gen, or try and reset whatever they decide to do.
She's doing really well. She held W, I think, to round 6, and Potatoes lost her.
Was that lucky break?
No, there
No,
was
it
definitely
wasn't.
scratch marks and blood. I think she just left and he did not realize.
You're getting a bit bamboozled, but finding Leon caught out. It does make the 4 lane, which is great. He might make this window vault with especially with the new vaults coming through, but
Oh no. And there'll be a down there. Yep.
Yeah.
Another
Actually,
Merciless
another
Storm.
Merciless.
That's why I love this perk, right? Because this is now 2 gens that haven't popped just because of the one perk.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure with well, I was gonna say, Pain Res I believe goes through block gens now, so
Yes, it
getting
does.
that Pain Res on that gen as well is making it regress so much, probably down to like 60-70%.
The question was which gen got painters, because he still hasn't kicked the. I'm not sure where it is. I think it's called 11, up behind main. He has never kicked it, so we know that it's at least around the Merciless Storm 80% area.
It must have pain res that gen, right? Unless they've got progress on another gen, which I find very unlikely, considering how quick the downs have been.
And that is our 3rd down for our Jake, I believe.
Yes, I believe he is dead on hook right now, forcing a 2v1 at 4 gens left. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's
Yeah. At this
a very
point,
rough spot.
it's up to the survivors just to try and get at least one more gen. As I was about to say, maybe
Could he-
hopefully getting that gen outside Shack as well. It's
Yeah.
a 4K2 is still not a pleasant result, but it's at least better than a 4K3.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is somewhat manageable. From what would be Neverland's killer if they can manage it, and I'm hoping they've wrapped around to that gen and Potato Savage is aware of it. Just that if he goes back now, defends his gen, there is absolutely nothing the survivors will be able to do.
No. Oh, and we see him get the shock onto Kate there. This gen's so close.
That has to
Really
be like
unfortunate.
99.
And then seeing Lost Chase come onto Kate.
Oh, there she is.
I'd say lost him, but
The
I mean,
interest-
doesn't have much to play.
The scary thing about this situation against the Doctor is the moment you're in tier 3 as the standing survivor, you can't heal that down survivor. And another useful thing for Doctor is if the down survivors in tier 3, they will randomly scream, so you will not lose your bleed out. However, Potato Savage hasn't done that with, was it our Leon?
Yeah.
And he should be worth, I believe, if he bleeds out, there will be 1 point lost for Potato Savage, because he has been hooked one. I believe I'm right with that, with the recent bleed out changes.
Actually aware about the recent bleed out changes, what the points would be. I would need to catch up on that, but it's definitely not a good thing for him to bleed out. However,
No, not at all.
I think he'll be able to, unless this is our tenacity or something.
Yes, I believe with this, I don't remember what survivor it was. I believe Leon being hooked once, the bleed out would have been losing 1 point on this killer side. So still, 4K 3 being a icon. It doesn't really change that much, but found him anyway.
It would,
It's
it would,
probably a good result from
it would,
Potato
yeah.
Savage here.
He'll be really, really stoked about this, and it relieves a lot of pressure off the survivor side for Deception, because they can just come, pop 3 gens, and then that's it. That's the win.
Yeah, especially when this is your first Survivor game coming into Amateur. You only have to pop 3 gens. That's a big relief on your shoulders.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, and with that, we'll be going on into the next game very shortly.
Alright, welcome back to the second game of the Doctor set. Seeing Neverland's killer going up, trying to get a 4K 3 to tie or 4K 4 to take the set. It's not looking great. So see what happens.
Well, you know what they say, Dick. Never count them out.
Of course.
But this is definitely a very challenging win con. Doctor tends to get, anywhere from 8 stages to a 4K1. So asking for a 4K3 again is quite a lot, especially from a brand new killer. Who we see here is, I don't know how to pronounce, I'm absolutely going to butcher this, but I think it's Cheshire?
That's probably right. I would have butchered that even more. So I'm glad you got that. We're seeing the same build coming through, I believe. Hopefully seeing more of that Merciless Storm value.
I am so happy to see Merciless Storm. We're seeing some vaults here from someone behind main, probably trying to get a chase. As we see here, it's all corrupted, so I assume they're trying to keep the chase and corrupt, but our Doctor here is not having any of it and just going to leave, going over to their gen.
That is such an interesting strat. I can't say I've seen many Div 1 teams going for the spam vault at main strat, but I like it.
Well, these definitely are amateur teams, so they're trying out new things, seeing what works, and I think we've all realised that doesn't quite work.
We're seeing Cheshire miss the swing on Nia. Still getting the hit though. Seeing Nia chase this at Shack. Seeing how long this chase can be. For our killer, we'd definitely want this to be a quick chase, but getting the stun with Shack.
Eating the whole pallet.
That is an important stun as well, because it lets him get all the way towards main and into the corrupted gens, and he's forced to leave to keep this win con. He can't be committing to a chase that long away from the gens.
Yeah, already seen the first gen pop with only 1 injury to show for it. Find another survivor to chase. Ace at this crane tile. Forgot what it was called for a second. Might be seeing hit come through, but Ace being able to drop the pallet. I would assume he's gonna make a lot of distance now. He does.
Still playing. This might turn out into a. Depends how the Doctor does the shot. Oh, a good mind game there. Being able to double back and get that hit. Ace though just holding W back towards the Shack area. And goes down.
A little bit of a misplaced stain at the pallet. Unfortunate for LV Duck. Cheshire, I would assume going for a pain res, but definitely not going basement. Going for this pain res hook. Seeing Potato Savage a bit eager to take chase after his performance last game.
Yeah, and to me that, I was about to say, that tells me that they're probably progressing gens pretty quickly if he's wanting to unhook immediately and force Cheshire to stay either at the hook or to his gens and make a choice, and that's what they do.
I'm a bit confused why we just saw 2 of our survivors just away from that gen. Perhaps they're trying to double to make sure they meet their their Tycon, before actually focusing on the win, but I feel like they should just be all the way over on the other side of main now that Corrupt's down and just pumping out as many gens as they can, just as far away from the Doctor.
Yeah, I agree. They've got no reason to be doubling a gen right next to the hook. I feel like they just split 3 different gens and like don't even need to unhook particularly quickly, and just gives them the win.
Right. This is not a good position for our Doctor. He's been out of chase for quite a while now. And while Merciless Storm might help now that we've got all the survivors at least in Madness Tier 1, he hasn't got any pressure. They could be working on 3 completely different generators.
Yeah, for sure. He's finally found a chase on, I'm not sure who this is, but he's opting to leave it and just protect his gen and kick it. And...
I'm thinking against Merciless Brocken in the background.
Let's go, the Merciless Storm!
Best pack in the game. You've seen Cheshire. He needed to hold this 3rd gen with no gen kicking perks. It's a bit of a risky play in my opinion. But opting to leave to try to push these survivors off the gen that is close to being complete. Hopefully preventing the pop. We do not see them pop the gen. Great for our killer here. Finding our tunnel out as well. This could be good, but to see.
But the unfortunate thing that we saw is another generator proc Missile Storm, and the Missile Storm has gone down now, which means we know that at least 1 gen is about to pop, if not 2, because he hasn't kicked that gen at 11. And our ace here is absolutely juicing. There's the 11, and there's the other gen, which means we have already reached our win condition, which means Deception takes this first set point.
It's a very strong performance from Deception. I mean, demolishing Neverland with incredible gen pressure across the board and insane killer gameplay. We've seen Ace just looping this rock filler. He's got a lot of distance here as well, so it's going to take a while.
We love to see another Merciless Storm in the distance set show.
Oh my god, I've never noticed.
Oh my.
I think it's very important to mention as well that a big factor of why Deception have won so convincingly already has been that amazing win con that Potato Savage gave the survivors.
Yeah, it's just put Cheshire in like an impossible position to be able to defend generators in any reasonable way. He's been ping-ponged between all the high progress gens and not being able to commit to any chases without losing 2 gens. And we see LV Duck 1v1 practice coming through with this chase, just lasting quite a long time to even get the first hit. And it's very impressive.
I think it's very interesting him pre-dropping pretty much every pallet he reaches. Of course, with win con already met, and even in the early game with such a relatively easy win con for the survivors, there's no need to really keep all your resources up. However, playing pallets against Doctor, sometimes it's actually good to keep them up, because the Doctor will keep trying to shock you to make sure you don't drop it. However, if you've pre-dropped it, they're not going to worry about it. They're just going to chase you and make sure you don't vault it.
I was going to mention the Merciless Storm in the background, but you do see the gen pop. Still unable to get a hit on the ace here, getting the hell out of the way. Still got this crane pallet as well. It's holding W to the door, I believe.
If the survivors, yeah, I was about to say, if the survivors went straight to the door, Ed is going to be ready, and there is no way that our Doctor is going to be able to down any of these survivors in time.
Oh no.
Yeah, and that's just going to be the 1 stage coming through. Amazing performance from Deception survivors.
It's also worth mentioning, of course, again, that this is Neverland's first ever tournament game. They're not used to these new rules, and so I think this will be a good, a good first look at how it all works out. So hopefully we'll see in the next game that they've learnt from this. And so we'll be right back with our second set being the Nurse set. We are back now with the Nurse set. Deception's Nurse coming in first. Let's see how they go after quite a rough Doctor set. Tell me, Gafford, how do you think this one might actually go?
I'm not actually sure. This is the pick of Neverland. Maybe they're more confident on Nurse. It'll be interesting to see. We see a pretty standard build. Maybe we see the Pine Cone, which I believe reduces chain fatigue. Not as common as the Tooth or the purple add-on, I believe, but it's still an interesting choice.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm quite a big fan of the tooth, especially because when you get value out of it, which doesn't happen every game, but when you do get value, it is massive. And having that reduced fatigue cooldown can be helpful for maintaining a line of sight, but it's not particularly going to get you all that much information, I don't think.
Yeah, it's more of like a subtle, but always constantly there.
What the fuck?
Ooh.
Sorry, but what is happening here? Why do we have like three of our survivors all running in one direction?
Maybe they were trying to double out a gen early or triple out a gen early and get it done, and our killer here has found them and it's just spelt trouble for them.
Yeah, doubling the first gen against Nurse is a very common practice. However, tripling is pretty new. And unfortunately, we see here our Nurse getting her blink swallowed by that hill. Going after King Bulldozer on the
Gen.
Fang. That was that gen that we found everyone on as well.
It was. You're right.
It's an interesting choice, doubling gen at 4. I mean, I wouldn't really say it's a priority gen that Survivors need to target to get out of the game, but nonetheless, a gen popped is never bad against a Nurse without a down.
Yeah, we can see here that it would have been more ideal to go for that 7 gen, since it's very close to a gen at 6. And with another gen at 9, oh my god,
That was
that
a
hit.
beautiful second blink.
Reach, yeah, amazing.
And we see her following this Adam, just trying to get a quick down.
I believe
Nice double back.
I believe that was our ace from last game, who was very interested in chases. However, we're not quite seeing we're not seeing him be quite as interested, I don't think. I think he's actually trying to run for his life this time.
Well, it is a Nurse. There's not a lot much more you can do,
Oh.
Grindine, but I mean, as I say that, he's juicing up quite a bit. Far away from the gens as well, deep at 5.
Right where the gen popped as well, it's a great spot to be taking chase. Killer getting a bit lost here, just opting to leave. Going to take that chase, going back to the gens. Trying to stop them from popping.
Yep.
It's not a
Gonna be
great, I would
playing
imagine.
Eruption.
Yeah, playing Eruption on the gens, but I would imagine the survivors are definitely on some of these top gens.
We can see the survivors have taken advantage of where that chase was happening. With a gen at 1 popping, and our gens at 7 and 9 got a pretty good amount of progress on them. And everyone reset. For our Nurse, it's like she started the game with only 3 gens up. And this is just, it's a really bad start. There's no way of sugarcoating it. Not being able to get it down, like, at this point is massive.
Oh, definitely, and barely missing a swing onto the ace. Not great, but whiffing again.
That
Really
pains
not what
me
we
to
want to
see
see.
as a Nurse
Yeah.
player. I understand that feeling all too well. But nice second blink there to predict that he was just going to be holding that the wall and running along it.
We see him committing to this chase, but
I think he's lost the scratch marks. There we go. We've seen them again.
he's found him again. Hopefully he can get this second blink down. Doesn't
so
quite
close.
get it. Really unlucky.
And we see the chase once again coming down to deep 5 away from the gens that are being worked, and it's just going to mean that those 2 gens are going to pop for free.
We can see our Nurse starting to feel a bit of the pressure with some impatient blinks coming out. 1 gen remaining and still not a single down. This is a really unfortunate turn of events.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like, trying to get the eruption values is not coming through. I mean, not being able to get use out of most of his perks as well. I mean, Survivors got good gen pressure and really good chases coming through, but Nurses can't keep up.
Hopefully we're gonna see her zone ace in the corner. No. He's made it to make it around, and that's all the gens popped with not a single hook. What?
Batman save coming down.
Maybe trying to take a hit, but
Thing trying to go for the get down, Mr. President, but not quite getting. And there is our first down. And audience completed as a pretty close to being a miss. But look, points a point. We've got some points on the board.
yes.
Hopefully, I actually should look.
Yeah, I was gonna say hopefully.
Hanging around.
But it definitely looks like the survivors might be trying to save this. I'm not too sure.
I
what the
believe they
gameplay
were
is,
just going to
but-
take the outs for this.
Well, you think you got
I
to
would
think about
hope.
this as well. We got to remember this is a nurse set. There is deliverance. There is other massive perks in play, like decisive strike, dead hard, and it might actually be possible for them to get this hook out. Think going for the trade, but Adam
a nice
able
body
to
coming through.
and a blind trying to be
Distracting
down.
the blind. Take
Oh,
another
everyone
hit.
injured? The fun
thing-
is still catching here?
Thing running in.
I believe there must be a deli.
I would imagine a deli coming through on this thing,
But
but if
if-
everyone gets pushed out here,
Yeah.
Then there won't
What?
be
Yeah,
any
there's a-
down. I think we heard the Claudette maybe going
Then-
back into the map.
I
yeah, I'm not too
believe
sure where
so.
she went, but yeah, trying to get the deli off. Definitely worth it.
Nurse taking some time to think about how she's going to do this. Of course, there's no unbreakable on the deli anymore, due to all the recent changes with the hook grabs no longer being a thing. But opting, of course, to pick up, because if she leaves and tries to look for potato salad, Finn can just crawl out. So if this is the deli, what can really be done here?
The only way you can realistically counteract this is hitting immediately as nurse and then.
And then
but
trying to go
no,
for the blank, but we
we
see
see-
the nurse maybe trying to wait out the BT timer, but
Yeah, just
Unfortunately,
unfortunately, it's not going to be long enough of a distance away.
I assume Potato's either at hatch or at the other door, and manages to get out, leaving the nurse with 2 hooks, 2 freshes.
An incredible result coming through from the survivor side. I mean, just amazing win cons
2
for their killer.
stages against a nurse is incredible.
Some would say crazy.
That is crazy. The next set very quickly. We're going to be loading in onto the Deception Nurse now with a very simple win con of 3 stages. Not a high result needed for the Deception Nurse. It'll be interesting to see how the survivors on Neverland do to counteract this. You'll be seeing Bulldozer on the Nurse. I actually expected to see Potato Savage, so it'll be interesting to see his gameplay.
You also have to remember that the expected nurse result on Cold Towers, I believe, usually either a 4K one or usually a couple stages out the door. But
Actually, we're going to be seeing Plaid Flannel in use. That is not an add-on I
Very
expected to see.
unique choice of add-ons.
wait, so
coming through.
we're not even using the Mangled add-on, which is pretty much what every nurse runs. It literally it's just built in slowdown to nurse's kit, and instead we're going for the training wheels add-on, I guess you could
Yeah.
call it.
The add-on, it shows you where your blink is going to land, so something not experienced nurses do not actually need. So it tips me off that maybe Bulldozer is not feeling as confident on the nurse.
Yeah, and of course our other add-on being a classic at this point, the undetectable purple add-on. I don't remember the name. I'm not even going to try and say it. But it has that use of causing a bit of chaos, making survivors think the nurse is left when in reality she is still watching and ready to catch up.
Yeah, and even in chase, it will hide the red stain, making it harder for the survivors to understand where you're going to blink. Something that can really throw off survivors if they're not careful.
We are seeing a decently good chase coming in from our Claudette player. If we can secure this down relatively quickly, it's going to be a great start for Bulldozer. Only needing to get those 3 stages. But you see, I believe balance coming through, avoiding the hit. I mean, this chase taking out of all of Corrupt, another gen pop in. The first gen pop in. We see a really over blink coming in from Bulldozer. Predicting the Claudette was going to go behind main, but ended up not doing that. See, the second gen of the trial pop in, and Bulldozer opting to leave Claudette in the corner.
I think we're seeing that our survivors from Neverland have actually really learnt from their Doctor game and are starting to actually apply a fair bit of gen pressure, making sure to work on those gens where the nurse isn't, and just absolutely pumping them out. And we are now in chase with our aides, and we see our Claudette has already been reset.
A very fast reset, probably due to the lack of the mangled add-on, arguably Nurse's best add-on. But yeah, very quick reset coming on, and Bulldozer. I mean, nothing to show for the first two gens popping.
This is actually beginning to look a little bit scary for Deception here, even considering the win con of only needing 3 stages of any type.
This is literally the same position I brought up in the previous game, where we're at 3 gens, not a single injure on the board anymore, and no hook stays. It's like the game has started with 2 gens already completed, and we found our Claudette again getting a nice hit there.
Looks like we've seen balance come through again, making Claudette going all the way down. Oh, not having it up, but Bulldozer
Nice
getting the
prediction.
down. Very good second blink coming through, getting the one of the 3 hooks needed for this win comp. Much earlier than Neverland's killer got his hooks. Do you see
Yeah,
this
and
gen pumping?
correct me if I'm wrong, but with this hook on the hill next to a gen, he could practically just face camp this and he would meet the win con. If they come in and trade, it's even better for him.
I believe so, yeah.
Definitely. He's still got this 3 gen at the top of the map with main building and these 2 hill gens. I do have quite a bit of progress, but Nurse, with the eruption, can apply it and just opt to camp this out.
She's spending a lot of time away from her hook. Like, this is a
Yeah.
scary amount of time when all you have to do is just force a death, and then that's it. That is your win. However, she has opted to just. I mean, it hasn't turned into anything, but that whole time Survivor could have run in and gotten that unhook. But now Bulldozer is just going to be able to just sit here and you know keep his gens from popping, as well as making sure this Claudette at least goes into second.
Yeah, definitely a mistake from the survivors. I mean, Kate was around when this hook came through, so not being able to get the unhook, but seeing the trade come through before second stage, definitely what you need to see. But definitely not a great start.
And
mean,
we're
that's
already
high
at our
con already.
Tycon. Yeah. I mean, once again though, he's deciding to leave. Survivors can punish this by unhooking immediately and just not giving him another down is all they can do at this point.
I'm guessing because of how that unhook was done, if our Claudette wasn't the deliverance, that Kate should be the deliverance. Which means our survivors won't actually have to worry about getting the unhook. They just need to pump out these gens and hope that King Bulldozer wastes his time here trying to force second like it looks like he is.
You are correct. If this is the Delhi, then Tycon is very achievable if they dodge a few sets of blinks and get the gens on. Be interesting to see.
I might be mistaken here, but I did believe I saw a sprint burst early in the trial from a male survivor, so I don't know what perks these survivors are running, but if it's the standard build, this might not be Delhi, but we'll definitely see coming through. But definitely is Delhi.
And
Immediate hit.
pathing away from main and away from the Reapers. What was that blink?
An interesting blink coming through, trying to, I guess, zone Kate away, but
I think the nurse was just terrified of that firecracker and wanted to make sure she didn't get blinded.
most
And we
likely,
see
but
exactly what we said earlier, and that all the gens are gone done. Kate has been dodging these blinks, and if that door has been worked on from the start, she might honestly get out, and it might be a tie.
Oh, but it hasn't. There is no light on that door.
Yeah, not enough pressure. I mean,
Oh no.
don't see the.
And because all the gens are popped, there is no decisive strike, which means all the nurse has to do is just pick up.
I
And
think he's worried about a beamer for a
for the
while
win.
there.
He's a bit confused there, but getting this third stage, securing the win con, I would assume the survivors should be able to make it out the door.
that is it. Bordeaux's apparently very proud of that result. Giving some nodders, but I think our survivors. It looks like they might actually try and get the 4 out, make it so that while this was a loss, it was a very very close loss.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean the
Definitely
gen
seen all
pressure
these-
from survivors this game has been actually very good, and it's been good to see.
Trying to block off for the cape there. She does go down, but we might be seeing a heal tick here.
Full survives up,
it's a
getting the
pick up.
pick up.
Flashlight save?
And the flashlight save. And that's it. 4 survivors out the door, 3 stages. That is not a good result for Nurse. But I think, as we could see from his head-ons, it looks like King Bulldoze is a pretty new Nurse player. So, a bit interesting that their team would decide to throw him on.
It was a very interesting choice for them to pick him to play Nurse, but with that match, we'll be concluding the games of Deception vs Neverland with Deception winning 2-0 against Neverland. Very interesting games.